All right, everyone, welcome to Day to Day. So before we get started, I want to do one bit of housekeeping. Show of hands, who does not have a partner for peer review? So maybe half-ish. Find a partner now. So everyone should get a partner. It's not urgent for right now, but I might as well get that out of the way. If you're watching this video at home, please email me or figure something out. In fact, yeah, if you're watching this at home, send me an email if you still don't have a partner, and I will pair it. All right. So, show of hands, who is not logged into Qualtrics right now? Okay, so let's just do that together. So just a reminder, the way to do that is in one browser, because some people were sending me emails about this. Get this info from an announcement. So you go to Announcements in Blackboard, go to the bottom one. Just copy all of this information into a Word document. And then, I'm not going to do this part, but log out of Blackboard, delete your history, whatever, or get a new browser. But basically, you can't log into Qualtrics in the same browser as Blackboard is logged in. That'll mess it up. So once you have that, then copy that link into a new tab, preferably on a different browser. And then you'll see this. Do not put your student ID or student information here. Use the username provided here. And then for the password, put the password in, and then you should go right here. Okay, so now I want everyone to open their survey, and I'm going to make sure that everyone's survey has the right format, because I've gotten some people to show them to me, and they had different things missing. I'm sure they weren't the only ones. So everyone open your survey. I'll go ahead and open my template, which is entitled Do Not Edit Unless Your Name is David Simpson. Yep. Okay, show of hands who still is not here. Good, okay. So, just a brief reminder of what it's supposed to look like. So as I've been telling people, so that all of us, except for me, will be the sample. The survey should include random assignment to 2 conditions, and then that's the independent variable. There will be 2 conditions, and then 2 dependent variables. So as far as what this means your survey should look like, it should have 2 conditions, which should be 2 separate blocks. I heard one person said that they're telling people to do jumping jacks in one condition and not in the other. So it could be, that's kind of a clever idea. So it can be instructions, it can be a writing activity, it can be different pictures, but there has to be 2 conditions. And if you don't have this, I'll be making sure everyone's looks like this. So everything here is part of the builder. The survey flow should have a randomizer, and this should say 1, which means it's going to randomly put people into one of the 2 conditions. And it's better if you have evenly present elements. And then your 2 dependent variables should be here. So in my case, really simple, just a happiness scale and extroversion scale. And then at the end, a debriefing with a brief discussion of what your hypothesis was, or something like that. And the consent form should include anything potentially unpleasant. So whoever's idea was the jumping jacks thing, maybe warning, you might have to do some exercise, whatever. And I guess relatedly, you should have this branching condition here, which should have been built in at the beginning, but if the person says no, that means end of survey. You have to have that option. Is anyone, raise your hand, I'll go around, I'll make sure. Is anyone missing anything as far as the structure that my example has? Okay, I'll go around and talk to 2 people. Okay. Last call for questions. Anyone else want me to take a look at theirs? Okay, one thing I've noticed, all right, everybody, wrap up your conversations no matter how special you are. Okay, one thing to quickly do, so for each item, so there's the two conditions, and then these, make sure there's a name here, not just numbers. It'll make it easier when we get to SPSS. So here for me, there's the title of the block, which in a way actually matters less. And then this is the title of the question. So in this case, I wrote comedy. And here's the title for this question. Make sure that both of your conditions have a name there. It'll make it easier later. And then for your DVs, again, make sure they have a question here. Okay, that'll make things easier. And once you've done that, make sure you hit publish here. So now I can't because I haven't done any changes. So publish should be blank like this. Yep.
If there's multiple questions in the condition?
Each one.
So, each one?
Yeah, it'll make it easier.
Something different or the same thing?
They won't let you do the same. So make it like, anger Q1, anger Q2, or something like that. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to first do our own survey a few times to make sure it works. And then we're going to download that data to make sure it's interpretable. If you ever go on to do research, this is always a good thing to do. Before you unleash it to the world, do it yourself. So everyone, go to distributions, anonymous link, copy survey link, and then just put it into a new tab. And here it doesn't matter what tab it is. You can be logged into Blackboard. It doesn't matter because at this point you're a random person basically. And then enter, and then just do your survey. And then just do it I'd say 4 or 5 times. And and if it doesn't let you do it again, delete your history after each time because then you're like a new person. It might not matter, but if it for some reason stops you, just delete your history again. And just pay attention, make sure that you're getting the 2 conditions. If you do it 5 times, you get the same condition each time, either you're very unlucky or it's programmed wrong. And probably the second one. So make sure you're getting the 2 conditions and make sure it's all there. Yep?
How is the link different than the preview?
If it's preview, the data is not being saved. Preview is you're just seeing it, but do it for real with the link, because then there will actually be data there that we can look at in SPSS.
So it shouldn't ask me both.
Yeah, it should not. If it asks you both, so here's one quick thing you can fix. So if it asks you both, go here to survey flow. Look at randomizer. It should say 1. If it says 2, that means you're getting both. So make sure that says 1, and then hit publish again.
All right.
Yeah, okay. I've had a few people ask this, okay, if at any point you open the survey and then close it, and then put the link in again, it will take you to wherever you just were. So if you closed it in the middle of the survey, it's going to start you from wherever you just were, just in case that led to any confusion. Okay, show of hands, who has still not done their survey at least 4 or 5 times? Okay, so now we're going to download the data into SPSS. So go to here, data and analysis. Click export and import. Export data. So export import is right here. And then export data. Is everybody here? Anybody have? Yep, okay. And then click SPSS. Download. So you'll only have a few. So then you'll have this folder. Last time we had some issues here. Take this and move it into the desktop. Okay? And then open it. So, here's the point at which I want everyone to get to. Now, SPSS just gave me a bit of trouble, so if it gives you some trouble, I will not judge. I had to make a copy of the file and I renamed it. I renamed it Piece of Shit 2.0. But so if you have to do that, just try that. That's what made it work for me. But what I want to get everyone to is this point. So, so here are my two conditions, right? So each condition in the independent variable should have a question. So people in the comedy condition answered like this, people in the horror condition answered like this, and then these are my two DVs, and those everyone answered. So hopefully that is somewhere in your survey. If not, you'll either have to do more work, or better, there's a tweak we can make to the survey to make it easier to analyze. If you see something like this somewhere, this is good. So have a look. Does anyone not see something kind of like this that they can interpret? Okay, so I'll go around. Okay. Does anyone else need help? Okay, we have an hour and 20 minutes left, so we're just going to take a leap of faith. We are going to... Now, we may not have time for everyone to do all of them, but there's a solution to that. Here's what I want you all to do. Please email me this link. And just put your in fact, just do this. Write your first name, colon, and then the link. Because I'm just going to paste that into an announcement. Yep.
Should we delete our responses?
Oh, and yes, now, good. Actually, I'm very glad you said that. We could have done it later, I guess, but yes. Now, go to data and analysis, just while I'm figuring this out. Click here, so like select all of your responses. And you'll see this lovely little trash bin icon. Click the trash bin icon, and then just click both, delete 6 responses. Because obviously you don't want your nonsense responses in the analysis. Okay, all right, so go to here. Now here's how we're going to do this, because we may not have time for everyone to do all of them. Okay, there is an imaginary line here. People on this side, start at the top, go down. People on this side, start on the bottom, go up. So you'll have at least 15 or so, but we'll try and do them all. So this time do them sincerely, although err on the side of doing it faster, but do give real answers so that we're working with real data. Okay, go ahead and get started. We'll see how far we get. Okay, so once you've done that, let's get the mark out of the way. So go ahead and open the day-to-day participation in Blackboard. So log back into Blackboard, preferably on a browser that isn't the Qualtrics one. And find day-to-day participation. It's multiple choice. The right answer is... So go back to Qualtrics now. So I'll briefly walk through how to analyze the data. Now, if you don't follow me exactly right now, you can go back to lecture 2 on YouTube, which is the Qualtrics and SPSS tutorial. The instructions are the same, but if you can follow along, you can be done with part of the assignment. So export data. Yep.
I tried deleting the responses of mine, and it does not look like that happened.
That's fine. So you can delete it from the SPSS file once it's there. So we're going here, SPSS. So if you missed that, export data, SPSS, download. Show of hands, who's here? Who has their data open? Okay, that's enough for me to proceed. Again, if you haven't gotten here, you can watch the tutorial from the earlier class, or I guess watch this video later. But here's what we're going to do. So find your 2 conditions with different answers here. So in my case, it's the comedy versus horror movie. Right-click, insert variable, and then it'll be var001. Click, what? So right-click beside your condition. So right-click, insert variable. Then you'll get this new thing right here. And then click on variable view at the bottom left, right here. and then just rename it like condition.
Like the name of our condition?
Yeah, so you can call it like whatever your IV is. You can just call it condition if you want, but something that's easy to remember. So now mine is called condition like this.
Well, we have 2 conditions, don't we?
No, so, well, we're going to add numbers here. So then what you do, so it'll make sense in a second.
Curses.
Not curses, blessings. So for, just right click one of the conditions and click sort ascending or descending. It doesn't matter which. Okay, so then it should look like this, right? Now, you have to pick a number for each condition. Just do 1 and 2. So I'm going to decide comedy is 2. And so then just write 2, Control C, copy the 2, select all the other ones that have comedy, Control V. So now everyone who's comedy is 2 in the condition variable. So this is what we'll see later. It's called a nominal value, right? It's just giving them a name. So these people are 2, and then the horror movie people I'll call 1. So if they answer the horror condition, right, I'll do 1, Control C, select these, Control V. Okay? So now everyone has a number that tells me which condition they're in. Does that make sense?
Hold on. Sorry. For condition, you just put 1 or 2.
That's it.
Period, stop.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, if you want to, this is good practice. What you should do as well, this is optional, but it's just good practice. Go to variable view and go to condition. So that's right here. So data view is this, like Excel. If I go to the bottom left, there's something called variable view. I'm going to go to condition, or whatever you called it, go to values. And then plus, I'm going to say 2 means comedy. And then plus 1 means horror. Now, if you didn't do this part, that's okay. Watch the tutorial lecture, that's lecture 2. I just want to make sure I get through everything in the next 10 minutes. So now, we're going to do analyze, compare means and proportions, independent samples t-test.
Yeah.
So,
You're way too fast.
You're way too fast.
okay. So, again, if you miss anything, you can watch the video again. But okay, so to do that
Do that
again.
here though, right? It doesn't work at home, so.
Yes, this one you do have to come back to do if you want to do it again.
Yeah.
And I should say in passing also, some of the future classes are going to be short. The lectures are short. You can bug me at the end of class if you want me to go through this again. But again, so let's go back to data view. Oh, I should add too, I'm happy to stay late today. Obviously, once it hits 6:20, you're free to run away. But if you want to stay late to make sure you just get it all today, I'm happy to stay late today. But I want for the video, I'll get like the main stuff out. So we're back. Everyone's back here. So analyze is right here, top middle-ish. Compare means and proportions.
Yep.
Okay, and then independent samples t-test. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now scroll down and find condition, or whatever you called your independent variable with the 1 and the 2 conditions. That goes into grouping variable. That's SPSS's fancy name for independent variable. So I put condition in here. Does that make sense?
Yep.
And then define groups. It just defaults to 1 and 2, so that's good. So then just click continue. And now, yay, 1 and 2. So then you take the 2 dependent variables and put them in test variables. Now, if your dependent variables have like multiple items that have to be averaged together, rewatch the tutorial video. I show you how to add them up. But for now, just to make sure it works, just pick one, just pick 2 things. Like even if it's just 2 questions, just to make sure we all know what we're doing. Everyone has something like this. Okay, then click OK. Okay, so here's the numbers that you'll need. And in fact, before we look at the numbers, let's go ahead and download the template. Because this, in fact, you can have the results section done today, if you want, for the paper. Because it's very simple. I mean, it's annoying, but it's just step by step. So click on the paper template and click the dots and download it. So 2301 paper tutorial, enable editing, obviously.
On your YouTube.
Yeah, I can.
Okay, I'll go again. So Blackboard. So go to the Blackboard, obviously. So underneath the syllabus underneath key terms is the paper template. 3 dots, download. It's a Word document. So there's basically 3 tests you're going to do, and then there's numbers for each. You're going to do a t-test for one of the dependent variables, because you should have, I guess I should have left this up here, but so there's the independent variables. There's condition 1, whatever it is, condition 2, whatever it is, and then you have 2 dependent variables. So you're going to do 2 t-tests, one for each of the 2 dependent variables. And you're going to put information for these 2. And then you're going to do a correlation between the 2 dependent variables. That's what you're going to do here. So what we just did is 2 t-tests, right? So there's, in my case, the t-test for happiness and the t-test for extroversion. So the information is there. I'm not going to go through every detail because that's in the SPSS tutorial. That explains how to put the numbers from here into here. Again, I can stay late if you want me to go through that again, but that's what you're going to do here. Let's just go ahead and get the correlation numbers too. So analyze, correlate. So analyze is top middle, correlate is sort of in the middle of the drag down thingamajig. And then click bivariate. Bivariate just means 2 things. And then get your 2 dependent variables and put them here. And then, so everyone up to here. So, and then these 2 here, click OK. In this case, that's very strongly correlated, but I did this kind of on purpose because this is the correlation for the answers I put in. So this is the correlation number, and SIG 2-tailed is the p-value. So that one's a bit more simple. I just wanted to say one just aside, because I forgot to say it during the null hypothesis day. Just kind of a fun fact. This 95% confidence interval, which is not something you'll put in your results, but I just thought it's kind of cool to know. So there's an upper and lower bound. This is the upper and lower bound for the mean difference. If this number or if these 2 numbers don't include 0, that means the p-value is less than 0.05. That's not something that's testable, just something that's kind of interesting. Okay, so one final thing I want to say, just since we have the papers open, I've talked to some of you about this in office hours. There's instructions in here about what to do for the intro and the discussion. So methods and results is really easy. Like, from the method, you just summarize your manipulation and your 2 scales, so like the 2 dependent variables, and that can be pretty short, as long as you cite your sources. Like if you used a scale from somewhere else, that's fine. And then this, just do what's in the tutorial video, which is lecture 2. Just put the numbers in there, and then a screenshot of the results output, like the SPSS output here. But for the intro and discussion, it should have an hourglass shape. So what I mean by that is, for the intro, that's really ugly, but whatever. You'll start broad, so start like with kind of the background, the theoretical background, and maybe find some limitations in the literature and narrow down to what your hypothesis is. So the end of the intro should be, this is my hypothesis, or this is what I'm going to test. And then obviously methods and results. And then for the discussion, it should start narrow with basically just repeating what your results were, but in just ordinary terms, not with numbers. So just summarize your results, and then slowly work your way back to the theory, to how your results connect with the theory and the background that you discussed in the intro. And also mention any limitations or issues like that. So broadly speaking, it should have that kind of hourglass shape. You have a lot of freedom with the intro and the discussion. The intro and discussion each have to be a minimum of 2 pages. There is no min or maximum for the methods and results. Just make sure you have the relevant information in there. So I wanted to make sure I had that in the video, but I can talk about this again in future classes if you have any questions. Okay, so, yep, go ahead.
Just to clarify, so for this, we don't need to include an abstract or a conclusion sections, just what's on here?
Correct. No abstract, no conclusion, just what's in the template. If you are going to leave at 6:20, very important, make sure you email the files to yourself from, well, I guess that only matters, I guess, if you've done any analysis. If you've done any analysis that you want to use for later, maybe take a screenshot of it, send it to yourself, and of course, if you do anything now or after class with the template, make sure you put that in your USB or send it to yourself.
But we're gonna have time to do SPSS stuff another time.
Yeah, so you can come in and do it on your own in these computers, but also for some of the future lectures, as I mentioned, I've already practiced all the lectures. Some of them are very short. The chapters have very little information, so you'll have time to do it at the end of a future class if you want to do that. Okay, that's everything I have to say. So you're free to go or stay if you want to play around with SPSS, and I'm happy to help you if you want to get that out of the way.
Shout out to the fact that it looks like there's another class in here.
Okay, yeah.
shit.
So you won't. So very sad. So you actually may not be able to stay here. I mean, you can always log into Qualtrics, another time and download it, and I'll upload this video, of course. So next week is a normal class. I'm going to lecture on 2 chapters, and then the week after that, unfortunately, is the test. So to be clear, Qualtrics saves that data. You do not have to download that now.
I'm not talking
But
about
the
that.
SPSS one.
SPSS is one you can save onto a USB or email the file to yourself. But to be extra safe, maybe screenshot the output and send that to yourself too. Yeah, exactly. The data's in Qualtrics. You can always download that later. That you don't have to save onto USB. Qualtrics keeps those results.